Hello learners, welcome to TryRide. Today we will be learning about exceptions. So, what are exceptions? They are the uninterrupted exceptions. They are the uninterrupted disruption in the flow of program. They are the unexpected event that disrupts the normal flow of program. Java handles exceptions using robust mechanism for exception. Now coming to these exceptions and errors. Basically, we have suppose there is a variable int a. In this variable, which you have to divide this variable is having value 10 divided by 0. So nothing can be divided by values of 0. So it will throw arithmetic exceptions. Now the exceptions and errors. So what are exceptions? They are the recoverable problems during program executions. They show all the recoverable problems during the program executions. Now errors. They show the serious problem that cannot be recovered. As they are errors, they show the serious problem, and these errors cannot be recovered. Now, IO exceptions and null pointer exceptions, etc., are the examples of exceptions. And out of memory, and stack overflow error. These are all the more errors which will occur during our programs. Now, exceptions they can be caught and handled, but errors they cannot be caught because they are errors and they cannot be handled. So they cannot be caught and caught usually. Now coming to Java. These exceptions, they have the throwable as a superclass. Java exceptions are usually derived from the class throwable. So this superclass is throwable, having the subclasses as exception and error. These are the subclasses for throwable class. Now, this exception will have unchecked and checked exceptions, which are the further subclasses, checked and unchecked. These checked exceptions these checked exceptions are usually executed during the checked compile time exceptions. They are usually compile time exceptions, and these unchecked exceptions are runtime exceptions. Now, this throwable class, which is the superclass of all errors and exceptions, which is a superclass of all errors and exceptions. Now, the two main subclasses, as we discussed, this has two main subclasses: exception and errors. Now, checked versus this unchecked. Now, following for the differences, these checked exceptions are thrown only during the compile time. These are checked at the compile time, and they must be caught or declared using throws. This will throw the exceptions. This will throw the exception throws keyword. This throws the exception during the compile time only. And so these checked exceptions are should be either caught or can be declared using throws. And the examples are IO exception and SQL exception. Examples are IO exception and SQL exceptions. For this checked exception, they are suppose there is a Java import from Java classes which are imported from java.io, and which has a main class public as checked exception, which have the class public static checked exception, checked example, which has the public static void main string args, which throws an exception, which throws this is the main line of Java main method, and this main method throws exception. This will throws exception. And coming further, we have the file reader. It will read all the file reader. We get an object created fr with the help of new keyword and file reader, and we have the input through the file.txt, which may throw exceptions. Similarly, in unchecked exception, which are checked at compile time only, and it is not mandatory for us to handle them. So examples, they can be a null point exception, arithmetic exception, and array out of bound exception. These are all generally referred to the unchecked exception. For example, we have the public class unchecked example, which has a main method has public static void main string args, and this array int array has a memory limit of 3 variables. We are as initializing a memory array memory as 3 only. Int array int new int 3 by this line. Yeah, but we are printing system.out.println array of fifth array element. So it will throw array index out of bound elements because we are initializing this array with 3 memory only, but printing the fifth element. Array having 3 memory, how can it print fifth element? So it will throw an exception, array index out of bound exceptions. Now coming further, we have some common exception classes. IO exceptions, these are checked exceptions, which will throw input output, which will throw that input output failure if it occurs. Now SQL exceptions, these are also checked exceptions. SQL exceptions, which are also checked exceptions, which throws a database errors. Suppose if there is not nothing present in if there is something that is not present in the database, it will show SQL exceptions. Now class not found. This is also a checked exception, which will throw exception that class is not there, but we are trying to access the class. So class not found is the exception which will throw. And null point exception. This is an unchecked exception, and if we are pointing to, if we are accessing the null objects, if we are accessing objects which is not present in the classes. Now coming the arithmetic exception. This is also an unchecked exception, and it is illegal arithmetic. Means something that is illegal in arithmetic operations. Then this exception will be thrown. That's arithmetic exception. Now array index out of bound error. This this will be thrown if the array index is not present, but we are trying to access that. Means that array index is not there. Invalid array index, and it is also unchecked exceptions. Now custom exceptions. We can this is only for the help in the creation of our own exceptions. And suppose we have a class named as my exception. This will which can every class can extend exception. So this is extending exception. This is extending exception. So it will inherit all the properties of this exception class. Now public class my exception having the constructor this constructor this constructor, and it is having a parameter as string message, and this will string message, but this is this will this is a super class and is extending a subclass exception. Yeah, so super it can throw that as super message. It can we can give it is calling a super class, which and there is a parameter message which is being passed in this, which is being passed. Yeah. So by this we are creating our own exception. By this using this function we can create our own exceptions. Now Java exceptions. Hierarchy R starts from Throwable. You know that Throwable is a super class, so its hierarchy starts with a Throwable class only. Now errors are undiscoverable as we cannot find a solution to all those errors, and exceptions are recoverable. And so we can check these exceptions, and exceptions can be checked. Similarly, we know that exceptions can be checked, and they can also be unchecked during the they can be optional to handle. We do not need to handle all the exceptions, and they can be optional to handle. Now understanding the hierarchy becomes important for writing the clean and robust code. For writing a clean and robust code, we should be having clear idea of all these hierarchy. Now thanks, we'll meet in the next class.